You can debug your program to figure out errors in your program. I have a simple program here where I have two variables, x and y. I'm adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing these two numbers and storing them in these variables. And then I'm logging those values in the console log. If I try to do that, then you can see that the addition, subtraction, and division is fine for 20 and 10 for x and y. But the multiplication is a huge number. There is a problem in my program and I need to figure it out. For that, I'm gonna debug this program in my Chrome. For that, I'm gonna make my Chrome bigger and go to sources. If I go to sources, then you can see the files associated in your project. I have one HTML file and then I have a index file. So I'm gonna open this index file. And in the index.js, you'll see the same code that you're working in your VS Code. And now here, I can set breakpoints and debug my program to figure out what's the error in my program. To set the debugger, I'm gonna go to the line number 3 because that's where my program starts and set a breakpoint here. Once I set a breakpoint here, then next time I execute my program, this is where the program is going to stop executing and it's going to let me explore the variable values so that I can understand what's going on in my program. So if I click on submit now, it's going to stop execution at this statement. Now there are some options that I have. I can resume the execution, or I can step over next function call, or I can press F11 to get into the function call, or I can get out of the function call by using Shift 11, or I can step to the next line by using F9. So if I want to step to the next function call, then I can press F10. If I press this button, then the execution will move on to the next line and it sets the value of 20 to X variable. If I hover over Y is still undefined because this line hasn't executed yet. If I execute that line too, then Y gets assigned to 10. Now, if I press F10 here, then it's not going to get into this add function. It's going to step to the next line and call this add function and assign the value which is getting returned from add. So if I press F10 here and then hover over addition, it adds these two numbers and stores the addition in 10. But let's say if I want to get into this function, then I can press F11 and that will put me in the function where it's subtracting x and y. Now here I can keep on pressing F11 to see what the value of result is, which is subtracting x and y, which is 20 and 10. The result is going to be 10. And then I can get out of that function call and it assigns that subtraction value to subtraction variable here. Now we have a problem in multiplication. Multiplication was giving some weird number. So let's get into multiplication and see why there is a problem there. So if I click on F11 here, then you can see that it's using this x and y to not multiply, but to find the power of x to y. There is a typo here. Instead of using 1 star, I'm using double star, which calculates x to the power of y instead of x multiplied by y. So this is the problem that is there, and that's the reason why if I go to the next line, then you can see that this weird number is getting calculated because x to the power of y, when x is 20 and y is 10, this is what we get in the result. So we need to fix this to make sure the calculation is happening properly, the multiplication is happening properly. So this is how you can debug the program to figure out the errors in your program. You can also set breakpoints by using debugger key if you like. So if I use debugger here, let's say if I write the statement debugger and go back to my Chrome, I'm going to make sure that I have the latest source here. And you can see this debugger getting populated in my source now. And now I'm going to remove this breakpoint. That means there are no breakpoints in my program now. But now if I click on submit, then it's going to stop the execution at this debugger line. So this is another way you can set the breakpoint in your JavaScript program. Make sure that you don't do this in production. Otherwise, your program will stop executing in production and your client wouldn't know what to do. And the keys are same. You can press F10 to go to the next line, F11 to get into the program. You can also press Shift F11 to get out of the program. And the other keys is F8 so that you can resume execution of your program. So this is how you can debug your program and figure out errors in your program. In the next section, I'm going to talk about JavaScript errors.